B, his healthy glow came from a tanning bed, and C, she might have to fake a text from her dying grandmother. "This is Kobe beef, you know," Chad said, pointing to his plate. "You should have gotten a steak." "That's not Kobe," Claire said. Kobe was extremely rare, and most places that claimed to sell it were outright lying. They got away with it because there were an awful lot of people willing to be duped if it had made them feel special, including her. 2 years ago, she'd fallen for a sexy, wandering cowboy named Ford Jarvis. He'd made her feel so stupidly special that she'd thought he might actually settle down. Zebras didn't change their stripes, especially if they were dumbass cowboys, and even if they had taken you home to meet their mother. Ford had told her he'd never settle down. Not in a town, not on a ranch, and not with a woman. Put that on a bumper sticker, cowboy. She'd been duped, and then she'd been dumped. Now, Ford was back in town. More specifically, he was back on her ranch. Temporarily, of course. Claire only had to survive the next 6 weeks. How hard could that be? She desperately needed a distraction. Unfortunately, the only thing distracting about Chad was a bit of arugula stuck in his teeth. Chad took a sip of wine. Would it free the arugula? He swallowed and smiled. Nope. That piece of lettuce was holding on like a grasshopper on a windshield wiper. "Well, a guy from the gym told me they serve Kobe here, and I'm pretty familiar with what constitutes a fine cut of beef." Chad picked up his knife and poked at his steak. "Look at this beautiful marbling." Marbling is just fat, and it's usually the result of corn feeding, which is not very good for the animal or the person consuming it. Have you ever been to a feed lot? Have you ever smelled one? You act like you grew up on a ranch. Claire sat up straight, pride swelling in her chest. That's because I did. My family owns Rancho Cañada Verde. The ranch had been in the Kowalski family for 5 generations, and at 12,000 acres, it was no small family farm. In recent years, it had become a household name among the growing organic grass-fed market and Claire's expertise. She had a degree in fashion merchandising, had played a big part in it. It didn't matter whether you were pushing pencil skirts or skirt steaks. It was all about branding and positioning. She was good at marketing. Because of her, the ranch's brand was even gracing grocery store shelves on the labels of salad dressing, salsas, and marinades. "Never heard of your ranch," Chad said. "Where is it?" "It's in Big Verde, which is about an hour southwest of here." Big Verde was barely a pinprick on the map, but thanks to the beautiful Rio Verde and its various springs and swimming holes, it attracted a fair number of tourists. "I think we rented a cabin there once," Chad said. "Really? Do you know who owned it?" Chad shook his head, as if he could barely remember the cabin, much less the owner. "There's an adorable little Airstream trailer on Rancho Cañada Verde that we used to rent to tourists," Claire said, "but I live in it now." She'd optimistically moved out of her parents' ranch house in the hope that she'd need privacy for herself and the Prince Charming she'd find on Sizzle. But, so far, the only person to experience the new Egyptian cotton sheets and their ridiculously high thread count in the trailer's newly renovated loft bed was her. "You live on your parents' property? In a trailer?" "The ranch is 12,000 acres. Chad stared blankly. "It's a 15-minute drive from my trailer to my parents' house," she said. "It's hardly a camper in the backyard." Claire didn't go into how the refurbished trailer, which she named Miss Daisy, had appeared in a magazine spread featuring unique Texas getaways. And although it wasn't anywhere near her parents' house, it was pretty dang close to the foreman's cabin. Claire's eyes were on Chad, but every cell in her body vibrated like a tiny traitorous compass pointing toward Ford. She could literally feel the man's pull.